This violent incident happened last year on July 31st in Walsall, where 9 British Pakistani men jumped out of 2 cars and charged at their rivals like they had been waiting for this moment their whole lives. They rammed their vehicle into another to force out their 5 rivals. Outside, they were ready to fight with machetes, cricket bats, and yes, even gunfire. The street turned into a total war zone in a few seconds. And while the attackers were focused on destroying their enemies, what they didn't notice was the CCTV watching from above. Let's see exactly how it happened and how everything started to fall apart the moment they stepped out of that car. The fight exploded outside a house near Reedswood Park in Walsall. It was around 11:50 PM. 5 men were parked outside the house. What they didn't know was that their rivals knew their location and were coming to beat them to their deaths. Out of nowhere, 2 cars pulled up and rammed into the car, startling the first group. The attackers jumped out from behind, and that's when chaos broke loose. The main group consisted of 9 men between the ages of 22 to 36, and all were British Pakistani. It looks like they had been waiting for this moment, as they came prepared with all kinds of weapons. They forced their rivals out of the car and then swarmed them with weapons. And not just any weapons, they brought machetes, cricket bats, and even a handgun. Within seconds, 5 men were on the ground bleeding, as the attackers had shot 4 bullets at them. One had his finger chopped off, another had head trauma from blunt force. They were unable to fight back as 1, they were outnumbered, and 2, they were outnumbered and unarmed. While all of this was happening, CCTV showed one man not taking much part in the fight. That was Arma Khan, also known by his online alias Adam Barzini. He was the brains of this ambush, the one who disappeared before police even arrived. But the others were not so lucky. Thanks to the CCTV from houses and street poles and a few brave witnesses, police quickly identified the attackers. They arrested Amar Shazhad, Hizar Yaiz, Mohammed Sahid, Kamran Moore, Shazad Mahmood, Hurrem Sajad, Wahid Ayub, and Umar Sadiq. All had some criminal background, so all were known to the police. On 20 June, after their 2-day sentencing, this gang was charged with a mix of violent disorder, wounding with intent, and possession of offensive weapons. Now, Umar Sadiq was the only one who got 2 years in prison after a guilty plea. The rest faced a heavier time, from 16 to 17 years. Altogether, they are going to serve 118 years in prison. So, what happened to their leader who fled the crime scene? Arma Khan, aka Adam Barzini, vanished, like he'd planned this down to the second. Police believe he orchestrated the entire ambush but made sure to keep his hands clean. CCTV shows him at the scene, but not where he fled to after the fight. Right after the attack, police launched a full-blown manhunt, raids in Walsall and nearby towns. Questioning friends, checking relatives, looking into passport movements or any airport activity, but they could not find anything. Some think he left the country, others say he is hiding locally, using family networks. The cops even released his face to the public, and still no luck. They have been tracking financials too. Whoever is hiding him knows how to stay quiet. But the thing is, they are not done. Police confirm there are active leads, and if they find him, he is looking at conspiracy charges, and maybe even a heavier sentence than the rest. Now you would think a gang of men swinging machetes and cricket bats on a residential street would be the most overwhelming part, but no, the real shock came after the CCTV footage went viral and the internet lit up with opinions. From local Facebook groups in Walsall to Reddit threads across the UK, people started commenting on the event. Weirdly, they were not surprised, just angry and disgusted. One Reddit user instantly commented that this had to be the axe. Now for those unfamiliar, axe is slang for brothers, usually used to refer to young Muslim men, and in online spaces, especially on certain forums, that word is thrown around like a label, and a stereotype for a British Pakistani gang. People knew who these guys were before the names were even made public, and when the full list came out, it only confirmed what the commenters already assumed. Turns out, the public wasn't surprised because this was a common thing in Walsall. One user commented, "Makes sense it was Walsall, that area is a mess. Birchall's is chaos." And just like that, Walsall became a symbol for everything wrong with gang crime in Britain. Some locals said nurses were avoiding the area altogether because of how unsafe it had become. Think about that. People who literally save lives were too scared to do their jobs in that neighborhood. One comment even called it community terrorism. And then came the race baiting. Some far-right accounts jumped on the story like hawks. They attached mugshots next to captions like, "This is what New Britain looks like." To them, these British Pakistani men from Muslim backgrounds were all the proof they needed to scream about immigration, multiculturalism, and the collapse of British values. Meanwhile, others pushed back. Not everyone was okay with the race narrative. Some reminded people that white gangs operate too, that another brutal murder of Bailey Atkinson in Walsall last year had nothing to do with ethnicity, and that crime there was a community crisis. But the truth is, it is hard to separate identity from crime when the names and faces line up exactly with every stereotype people already believe. That's why this ambush split public opinion, online and offline. Once the case went public, people also started talking about knife crime, youth centres, and whether police had enough funding. Others called for harsher sentencing, and a few even blamed gang culture being glamorized online. The major concern right now is why so many young British Pakistani men in Walsall were caught up in this in the first place. Why did they have access to firearms, and what made them think they could get away with it? Turns out this kind of violence is becoming the new normal in the UK. You see, in 2024 alone, England and Wales saw nearly 54,600 knife crimes. Not just that, the West Midlands took the lead with 178 knife crimes per 100,000 people, which was officially the worst in the country. So what's really going on? A lot of people blame it on police cuts and austerity. Over the past decade, police budgets were slashed, patrols dropped, and youth programs ended. And when you pull that safety net out from under struggling neighborhoods, gang culture infiltrates the area. Some experts say just 10% of criminals are behind nearly half the violent crimes. That's a small group causing a lot of chaos. And let's not forget about the drugs. Cocaine use in the UK is at record highs. 2.7% of adults and nearly 4% of young people admitted using it just last year. Drug turf wars bring knives, guns, and gang rivalries into the streets, sometimes with machetes and cricket bats, like we saw in Walsall. Now the scariest part is that 78% of Brits think crime is getting worse, even if the big headlines don't always reflect it. What happened in Walsall didn't come out of nowhere. It is part of a bigger problem. Violence is on the rise, the system is broken, and entire areas are left without help. If this is the new face of street crime, we might want to stop calling it shocking, because sadly, it is starting to look pretty familiar. So what do you think? What's the real reason behind the rise in crime rates in the UK? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel for my updates. Goodbye for now.